Coming up next on ECN, a regularly scheduled meeting of your Edinburg City Council. On the council, Mayor Ramiro Garza Jr., Mayor Pro Tem Jason De Leon, Council Member Daniel Dan Diaz, Council Member David Salazar Jr., and Council Member David White. Sitting in as advisors, City Manager Myra Ayala and City Attorney Josie Ramirez Solis. And now, live from Edinburg City Hall, the Edinburg City Council.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to this evening's meeting and Happy New Year to everyone. I do see, I just called this meeting to order. I do see that visibly we do have a quorum with all members of council present. We're going to start, as we do every meeting, with prayer. We have Pastor Dr. David Alexander here from First Baptist Church. Would you please rise for prayer?
Good evening. Happy New Year, everyone. Heavenly Father, we thank you that despite the fact that the news is a mess with a lot of stuff going on, the weather's getting messy, the year is here and we don't know what's going to happen, but through all the excitement and the unknown, you are the same God. Lord, thank you for your faithfulness. We pray, Father, that you would continue to support our council and the decisions that they need to make, grant them wisdom and insight, the favor of the community, and vice versa, Lord, that the community have the favor of the council, and you would facilitate the communication tonight. Everyone would be understood, and the information transmitted clearly for the decisions that need to be made. Thank you, Father, for allowing us to do this work. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Thank you. Please join us for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, we're going to move on to item 2.
Yes, sir, Mayor. The meeting was posted in accordance with the Texas Open Meetings Act on January 3rd, 2025 at 6:15 p.m., sir.
Thank you. Item 3 is disclosure of conflict of interest.
Yes, under state law, a local government official is required to disclose substantial interest for themselves or certain family members and abstain from voting on matters related to such a conflict. Are there any conflicts to disclose regarding any of the matters pending on today's agenda?
No, ma'am.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. We're going to move on to proclamations. We have one proclamation this evening, item A.
Presentation of proclamation recognizing Mr. Louis Christopher Callis for his service to the military and the City of Edinburg community. Mr. Callis, if you can come up to the
Mr.
podium.
Callis, if you could come to the podium, sir.
I'll
Thank
be
you.
reading the proclamation for the record. Louis Christopher Callis, 1920-2003. Whereas Louis Christopher Callis was born on January 8, 1920 to Hardy D. Callis and Eliza Lewis in Freeman, Virginia, and had 14 brothers and sisters. And whereas Mr. Louis C. Callis helped his father on their property growing various crops such as corn, wheat, tobacco, cotton, northern beans, black-eyed peas, sweet and white potatoes, Mr. Louis C. Callis and his mother would can the various crops they grew and sell them to the community. And whereas Mr. Louis C. Callis always wanted to play school sports, but chose to continue working with his family growing crops until he was drafted into the United States Air Force. And whereas on February 2nd, 1942, Mr. Louis C. Callis was sent to Fort George M. Meade in Maryland for 5 weeks for training and 8 weeks to Camp Lean, known today as Fort Gregg Adams in Virginia, renamed in honor of Lieutenant General Arthur J. Gregg and Lieutenant Colonel Charity Adams. And whereas Mr. Louis C. Callis trained with the 8th Medical Battalion, where he learned to set splints, take temperatures, administer medication, and immunizations. He was sent to Moorefield in Mission, Texas, where he continued his medical work for 3 years and 8 months at the hospital on the base. And whereas on December 25, 1945, Mr. Louis Callis married his first wife, Lenora White, in Enid, Oklahoma, and had 4 children. Mr. Louis C. Callis worked various jobs, including the Missouri Pacific Railroad, Lee Walker Oil Field, and Buick dealership. And whereas Mr. Louis Christopher Callis and his family returned to the Rio Grande Valley on May 29, 1959, he was hired by the United States Postal Service, becoming Edinburgh's first African-American U.S. postal letter carrier, where he worked for 26 and a half years. Mr. Callis would take care of the African-American plots of Highland Cemetery, bringing his lawnmower to care for the interred. Highland was renamed to Ruston Cemetery in 1993. Mr. Louis C. Callis passed before he could see the state of Texas dedicated Ruston Cemetery a state historical marker on June 2008. Whereas the Edinburgh City Council would like to recognize Mr. Louis Christopher Callis for his military service and his service to the community and the city of Edinburgh. Now therefore, the Mayor and Council of the city of Edinburgh, Texas, by power vested in them by law, do hereby recognize Louis Christopher Callis.
On behalf of the Callis family, I thank the City Council and the City of Edinburgh for recognizing my dad for being one of the first pioneers in the African-American community and the first African-American mailman here in Edinburgh, Texas. And for future references, maybe a street could be named after him. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Callis. Thank you, sir. Thank you, and congratulations on behalf of myself and the City Council, the entire City of Edinburgh, to your family, for the lifelong service to our community and to our country. Thank you. Thanks, sir. Item B, Council, I was told the Board President unable to be here tonight, so we're going to have this at the next meeting.
Yes, sir, Mayor.
Is that correct? Okay. So move on to item 5, public comments.
Yes, sir, Mayor. The Edinburgh City Council asks for a specific portion of the City Council meeting to be dedicated to public comments. Public comments are limited to 3 minutes. I will be taking time. Please note the public comment period is not interactive. The council may not respond to public comments. The first public comment is Ms. Fern McClarity regarding taxpayers' money.
Good evening, gentlemen. Hold on to your chairs because this is going to be a bumpy ride. It's the beginning of the year, so let's just keep going. I truly believe that the reason that you keep spending is that you do not relate to the population that you serve. Councilmember De Leon made a motion to support the existing board members of the appraisal district, and the mayor moved to take a vote, which was unanimously approved. Every one of us in the audience knew exactly what would be happening next, and here it is. Our property values have doubled or increased by 80%. But do not worry, because the City Council has approved hundreds of multi-family development projects. It does not really matter that living in a project is not your goal in life. Our problem, the problem of the people, is that the council members are not poor. And their daily lives, they do not have to deal with the issues like higher taxes. For example, this council voted to increase water rates by 67%. They're still going up each year, but it will end up at 67%, and there's no more water. This council voted to build a high-rise parking facility for the county that will cost the people of Edinburgh around $25 million. This council is considering a list of slightly over 40 projects with an estimated cost of $100 million. Today on the agenda, there is a proposal to spend $249,000 for beautifying Highway 107. I understand it's on the east side. These are unnecessary projects. Then there is the fact that the city started the new year with a $200 million debt. But don't worry, the plan is to sell revenue bonds and to remake the city before the election in November. Then to add insult to injury, the staff gets a 3% annual increase. This across-the-board increase is not enough from the bottom and too much for the top. My hope is that you listen to these comments and look at what is happening around you. The federal government is cutting spending, and we are going to have to learn to live within our income. Who among us is receiving an annual salary increase of 10 to 15%? The city received $34.6 million from sales tax. Stop spending it with the economic development and allow small businesses to create more permanent, long-term jobs. I just hope that the election's coming up. I know that people always promise what they're going to do. I hope that you'll keep it because the people are hurting right now. And I do ask everyone to please pray for Israel, for their battle that they're going through, and that we can get the hostages back. That is something that we all need to pray each and every day. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
The next public comment is Obed Montoya, Hometown Heroes.
Good evening, Mayor, and Happy New Year's to all y'all. I'm going to thank Mr. Jaime Acevedo for helping us out here in our neighborhood, humble neighborhood, on some of the construction issues that are going on. Thank you, Jaime, for everything you've done for us. I got a list of these hometown nominations, and with all due respect, I'd like to just give you a small little name list of, and I don't know if Myra or the mayor or the councilman. There's only 8. I might submit more before Friday. So the first one is Aaron Pena Jr. I'm pretty sure y'all know him. Second one is Eli Lopez. His brother passed away, Lemmy Lopez. My neighbor, which is right across the street, is an attorney, David Gorena. My pastor, Brother Chapo. They're all from Edinburgh, born and raised. Mr. Arturo Paul Flores, Ms. Fern McClarity, and the last one I didn't get permission, but he is a former city councilman, and he's sitting over there behind me. So I'll hand these to Ms. Roxanne Lerman. Thank you for everything, and Happy New Year.
Thank you, sir.
There are no further comments, Mayor.
All right, that being the case, we're going to move on to, with our agenda with item 6. We have a presentation, item A.
Presentation by the Edinburgh Housing Authority regarding the EHA's fiscal year 2025-2026 annual Public Housing Authority Plan and the 5th year Public Housing Authority Plan for fiscal years 2025 through 2029.
Hi, good afternoon. The Edinburgh Housing Authority's 2 plans, their annual plan and the 5-year plan, have been reviewed and are consistent with our housing needs and also consistent with our consolidated plan and our analysis of impediment. So Ms. Marisa Garza, the Executive Director of the Housing Authority, will provide a bit more context.
Good evening, everybody. Marisa Garza, I'm the Executive Director for the Edinburgh Housing Authority, and with me is Mr. Armando Barrera, and he's the Vice Chairman of the Board of Commissioners for the Housing Authority. So it's good to be here. Happy New Year to all of you, and I do like your chairs. They're very classy. I hadn't seen them, so they're very nice. So we did submit our annual action plan and our 5-year plan to the Grant Administration Office, as the Edinburgh Housing Authority does year to year. And basically, it's just for the review to ensure that our plan is consistent with your 5-year comprehensive plan through the CDBG program. And it does require a certification for the local official, the mayor in this case, to sign that certification. In our 5-year plan, it's a more simpler standard form or plan than what you're used to in your own 5-year and annual action plan. It's a standardized, our goals are basically to provide or continue providing affordable, safe, decent housing to our residents, our public housing residents in our public housing program and in our Section 8 program. It also includes self-sufficiency. Our goal is to also continue to strive to ensure that our residents become self-sufficient, and with that takes a lot of partnerships. So we need to continue to nurture partnerships with various partners throughout our community so that we can bring those resources to our residents. We also have a goal of continue to modernize our facilities, our buildings. We do have 5 developments under public housing and 2 tax credits. So we will continue to maintain those developments. We do get capital funds, so it hasn't happened yet, but we will reassess and we will do capital improvement type of projects for the developments. There are some that are in dire need of major rehabilitation. So we are looking into those type of projects as I move forward. I just got here November 1st, joined the team on November 1st, so it's been 2 months since I've been there. And so we are going to do a thorough evaluation of our properties and the resources that we provide so that we can, again, bring it back in our annual action plan and make use of those resources, the funding that's there for that purpose. Do you have any questions for us?
I have a question, but it may not be fair to you since you're just starting there. Albores, before you were there, a few years back, the Housing Authority sold Albores. How much of that now is under Section 8 or that you're actually giving vouchers for and stuff at this time?
So the housing, what I do know is that the Housing Authority replaced that property with Liberty Village. And so we do have subsidy in Liberty Village.
Okay, but how many subsidies do we have in
It's a
Albores?
tax credit, and it is a tax
How
credit.
much do we have at Albores? The thing is, it seemed to me like we sold one property to buy the other one, but now we're not necessarily subsidizing, and I'm not against it. I just don't understand why and that's why I said it is not fair to you. But just something we keep in mind of is, we sold a piece of property, or the Housing Authority, because the city really has no say-so in it, sold a piece of property, and now I bet you, because it looks like they just slapped a coat of paint on it and cut the grass, and now we're back into it's for rental property again. So the question would be is, how much of that is actually being rented for people that are going through Section 8, which goes through, and that's why I'm saying I'm not being fair, but it's gonna kind of bring it out this way to bring up a point. Yeah.
Good evening. If I could answer that. Well, what we did is we sold that, and all the people went to Liberty Village, a brand-new tax credit property. We made sure that all the residents were taken care of. Now, that's a private development now, and, they're renting it out, but we don't have any vouchers there, I don't believe, right?
Yes, we do.
Oh, we do? Okay.
No, I'm sorry. We do have public housing low rent
At,
type subsidy at Liberty Village.
No, I'm talking about at Los Albores.
Oh, no.
No, that's a private.
There's not any.
Yeah, that's
But we
privatized.
don't have anybody
But
that's,
everybody that was
but
at
everybody
Albores
that's
got
going-
taken care of,
they're
and they moved.
not being subsidized by housing. There's not the voucher that they get the housing. And when I have my
No.
apartments, we have
No,
some people that come and
that's a
stay, and a
private-
portion would be paid.
Those are private
I was
apartments.
a private too, and when I rented some of my apartments, came through the Housing Authority, paid for the people to stay there, or a portion of their, and that's the question I have. So what I'm asking is, did we just sell a property that was fine with living, probably just like you're saying, some of these other ones that needed some work and some cleaning up, but we take that out of our inventory, we lost the 100 units there, we put them back with, I'm trying to remember the numbers, but it's probably 70 units that were there, we replaced them with Liberty Village, it was 35?
Yeah, it's, like I said, it's a
That's why I'm
tax
saying,
credit.
it's really, I don't think you were there either. It's really not fair to you all, but what I'm trying to say is let the community be careful of watch our Housing Authority and stuff too. The mayor puts the council on there, but if we're just selling one property to downgrade or to have less units available to the constituents that we're serving, it's not right. And that's why I'm saying, that's why I led this off with, it's not fair to you
Yeah,
two.
you're right, because
It's
I
not
was
fair
there
to
when
you
we
two,
were
but it's
talking about
definitely
doing
not
that,
right
and then I
when-
was out, and then I was back.
If we probably needed to put a few 100,000, or the Housing Authority needed to rehab and to fix some of those up, like some of the other properties like El Jardín, or if we go to Posadas, or we go to
Posadas.
Kingswood, not Kingswood's not the city's, the one up on First Street,
Lantana.
Lantana. Yeah, so the difference is, when you're talking with me is, I've dealt with all these properties. I mean, 30 years here in the law enforcement side of it. I know all my properties here. Started to grow some too. And Albores was a good little place. And I was sad when the Housing Authority got rid of it. So, sorry and thank you.
Well, our goal is to provide housing, for, safe, dependable, and
Yes.
affordable housing to people. And as long as we have the vouchers, we try to maximize. We just opened 36 new units there at La Posada this last month. We had the grand opening, and we're always looking for more tax credit properties. If the federal government continues that program, we're going to be looking. I think we're looking here on Junior to develop some more tax credit properties, and we're looking forward, of course, with your cooperation, and we're looking forward to serve the people, to get as much affordable housing as we can, because it's sorely needed.
Anybody else have any questions? I just, again, thank y'all for all y'all do, and congratulations on the new units. I wasn't able to be there, but I understand it went very well, and they're all full, is that correct?
Well,
At
we
La
are
Posada.
in the process of
Oh,
housing
okay.
them. We're aiming for February 1st,
Oh,
but we're
excellent.
still
Okay.
working with the Hudfield office to get that process.
And my only question is, this is a 5-year plan, right? And I know, Claudia, we have our 5-year plan with HUD, right, for the Housing Assistance Program. My only question is, the state has its own program, and we get approached by, different developers that want to do tax credit apartments, and that's, but that's separate from this, is that correct?
Yes.
And so, is there a way to kind of coordinate efforts, because we don't get to choose. In fact, I think council, we get items that come before us to rezone properties so that they could submit those applications, and I'm just kind of wondering if there's a way to
As far as the
coordinate
tax
efforts.
credit program
Just housing assistance,
and
in that case,
CDBG,
it's
like
tax
they do
credit.
administer the CDBG on the state level,
Right.
so you can do your efforts when you're advocating in Austin.
Right.
If you want to have, comment when they do have public hearings throughout the state, whenever they're promoting their plans.
Right.
So they come here to the valley.
Right.
And so they'll have maybe one in Wesco, sometimes they'll go to Brownsville, but they do have their own public hearings for public comment, and that's the time. And also when you're up in Austin advocating for such programs or to have a word, that's the time to also talk to them about that.
But do those projects need to be in this 5-year plan, or?
No.
Okay, so
No,
this
no,
is
no.
just
This is
kind
our
of a-
local.
Got it, okay, all right, no problem.
And ours is a little different. We have our goals in the 5-year, and then the annual is used to just follow the progress
Okay, yeah.
of those projects.
Okay, great. Anybody else? If not, thank you all. Appreciate it. Thank you
Thank
for
you
the
so
update.
much. Have
Thank
a
you for
good
the
evening.
plan.
I appreciate it.
Appreciate it. Thank you. All right, we're going to move on to item 7. Council, members of the public, we have A, B, C, D, E, and F as items that require public hearing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up the hearing once. So the hearing is now open. If you're here to comment on any of the items between A, B, C, D, E, or F, you're welcome to make comments at this time.
Hi, good afternoon. Happy New Year. My name is Ilse Sepulveda Tuexi, and I'm here to make a comment on item 7F.
Okay.
I'm here to address 7F on the agenda as a resident of the adjacent apartment building to the food truck park, because I strongly oppose the approval of the special use permit for on-premise alcohol consumption. We've had some issues with the noise level coming from the park that are already considered excessive. At first it was loud music, but obviously any cooking sounds, any conversations that are happening loudly by customers on the outside of the food truck park is in very close proximity to our apartment building, and any noise is becoming a nuisance at this point. So I fear that introducing alcohol sales will likely lead to an increased foot traffic, and thus will lead to further interactions and exacerbate any noise issues that we're already having. We deserve to live in a community that values the quality of life for its residents, and I just think alcohol consumption in this setting would only compromise that. So I urge you to consider the long-term impact on the surrounding community and hopefully vote against this permit. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you. Thank you for your comment.
Good evening. I am the landlord of that property, 208 West McIntyre, next to the food trucks. And I have the same concerns. One of my tenants left, yesterday was the last day because of these noises. I have only 4 apartments and one of them is already vacant. I know that owner of the food truck is the same owner of the other apartments right next to them, and the food trucks are on my side, and the noise is on my side. So it's just like, I think that allowing the sale of alcohol is gonna be like, it's gonna bring more impact to my tenants and they will be more likely to live. So I urge the council to prioritize the well-being of our community and deny this permit to protect the resident in our area. Thank you very much.
Thank you for your comment.
Hi, I'm actually here for 7A, which is it's a commercial that is trying to turn into a multifamily complex. And so I live right behind it, literally the property line. And I've been here a couple of times, so I feel like I'm a broken record repeating the same thing over and over, but I've never come to speak to you all. So we have a lot of plumbing issues. It's on Chapin, between Business 281 and Expressway 281. And so.
You had a lot of what issues?
Plumbing.
Plumbing, okay.
Issues.
I just didn't hear the word.
Oh, sorry.
You're fine, yeah, no
Okay.
problem, no problem.
So we already have a lot of plumbing issues. I have lived in the area. I just purchased my house, that one, about 3 years ago, but I lived across the street for about 40 years. So we've been there forever. And so the plumbing, there's always been like smells and whatnot, but they're adding a lot more apartment complexes right down the road on both sides, towards the expressway, towards Business 281. And so all of this is being added, and it all goes right through in front of my property. And we've already had, like, when it rains too bad, it gets flooded, and I've had it to where I don't know what it's called, but on my property, there's a little white thing that goes for the sewer. Okay, that thing burst in the middle of the night, and you couldn't use anything inside the house. The water wouldn't go through. If you opened it, then everything would come into the house. It's a very old area, and you're adding a whole bunch of new apartment complexes, and you're adding houses, and you're adding all that. But nothing has been done to our plumbing. And so my concern is that you're adding a lot more, which is gonna go right in front of the house, and none of that is being addressed in reference to the city. I feel bad because I don't wanna like say, okay, no, don't build the apartment complexes, but is there something that you can do in reference to, like, they're gonna have new apartments, and their plumbing is gonna be brand spanking new, up to code, everything good, not a problem. But yet it's gonna go around, and it's gonna go right into our old plumbing, which is a lot smaller because back in the day, the guidelines were different. And I just built a pool about a year ago. We're outside, and we're outside enjoying, the pool and the sun and whatnot. And then all of a sudden, it just smells like sewer. And this is already happening, and it's been happening for a while. And I know even at Trevino's restaurant, they have plumbing issues. So, kind of to add another 44 complexes or 22, whatever it is that they're wanting to add, like the properties, and then they're like duplexes, so that makes it like 44 or 88. I don't really remember the number, but to add all of that, they're not gonna have any issues, and I understand, right? They're new, so our issues are not their problem, but their added waste is gonna become our problem, where we live down the road, where it's gonna go straight into our house. So I would hope you would take that into account when you're voting on that. Like I said, I don't want to be like a negative Nancy Karen, like, hey, no, I don't want an apartment. It is, Edinburg is growing at a very, very fast rate, and I'm all for that. But don't forget the rest of us who were already here, and, then having to deal with all that extra waste, and it's going to land up in our property, into the house, which it has already happened. So, more waste, more problems for that little area at least, because I know that our plumbing is smaller, or the tubing outside, whatever. There's bigger plumbing on this side, there's bigger plumbing on that side, and then it kind of bottlenecks in our area. So please take that into consideration. Or maybe there's something that they can do and actually fix the plumbing, and then, then it wouldn't be a problem, but thank you.
What was your address?
My address is 143 East Chapin.
East Chapin.
Yes, 143 East Chapin. It's, I'm right smack in the middle of Business 281 and Expressway 281.
And you're on the
You're south of the property. You're south of the property.
I am right south
Yeah.
of the property.
Right,
Yes.
he's on Chapin.
You're south of the property, so your house is on the north side of Chapin.
Yes.
Correct. Thank you.
Good evening, Council. We're actually here on the same item 7A. We do have some renderings from the developers themselves, Mr. Trevino. What they're requesting is to keep the front portion right off the frontage off of Klausner to remain as commercial. What they were trying to rezone is the rear portion to be able to do some fourplexes. This is still the first step. It's barely going through rezoning. We have not done any engineering design to it as far as for the sewer, as some of the concerns are, but that still has to go through the process with the city as well. So any concerns as brought up obviously will be addressed at that point during the design and the construction review with the city. And we're meeting all the requirements as far as for the lots, what we have so far as for the lot design. We are providing that buffer still, like I mentioned, keeping the commercial. They are still doing detention ponds before you access actually into the multifamily area. That was one of the biggest things that we wanted to stress was, you know, you drive up and down Klausner now, and what you see a lot of is the commercial. So they wanted to make sure to keep that frontage commercial and just creating that buffer towards the residential in the back.
All right, thank you. Thank you for your comments. Thank you.
Hello, I am one of the people that is trying to do the McIntyre food truck park, the special use permit. It's my wife and I. I just wanted to sort of point some things out that may not be understood. We did hear about a noise complaint from one of the food trucks about 2 months ago, or at least the owners of the property did. And I know that they addressed that was coming from one of the food trucks, and that's long before alcohol was even introduced. Also, I would probably point out that all of the complaints or the concerns are coming long before alcohol has even been introduced, and it won't be introduced until at least effectively a month and a half to 2 months from now. And then lastly, I would say one of the reasons why we chose not to do liquor, we chose to specifically just do beer and wine, is because of the type of clientele that we think liquor might bring. And we wanted to have it more of a family-based and sort of like a calmer environment for the food truck park. That's it.
What are the hours of operation for the alcohol?
We haven't said it yet, just because we were waiting, honestly, for this meeting. It's just my wife and I. We're not the owners of the property. We're just going to try to do the business for the bar. And because we're bootstrapping it and doing it ourselves, we wanted to wait until this meeting and see if we were even confirmed before we spent money and created the hours and things like that. But we're thinking we're just going to do, to start, Thursday through Saturday for the evenings, maybe 3 or 5 to no later than 10. In fact, we started thinking 11, but we're thinking now maybe 10 or 11. But that's mainly because her and I both have jobs and we want to run it ourselves and we want to do everything ourselves. So we need to make sure it's not operating when we're not there. We'd like to eventually get to the point where we're able to operate maybe Wednesday through Sunday and sort of do like brunch Sunday or Saturday and Sunday. And you know, Wednesday get the morning crowd from 8 a.m. just, you know, like teas and lemonades and things like that, and then soft drinks and waters all day, and then alcohol, you know, beer and wine from, I don't know, 2 or 3 until 10 or 11, really whenever we're allowed, but definitely not past like 11 p.m. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for your comment.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Members, how you doing? My name is Jerry Cavazos. I live on 814 North 4th Avenue. Now I'm commenting on, which one is it, D? The rezoning of from residential to multifamily.
Which item, sir? I'm sorry?
7D.
D. Okay, great. Thank you.
Yes, I sent in the letter, the email, you know, against rezoning this property due to the fact that that corner, besides the other facts that there's other issues there, but that corner is very dangerous. 4th and, Fifth or Fourth, whatever, that corner, that intersection is really dangerous during school hours. And actually that whole frontage area, I live right behind it. And some of my neighbors are here, some of them are not here. And they all kind of didn't receive some of these items. They don't understand them. They're older. I kind of try to explain to them. They'll probably come up, maybe we can talk also, but just having that whole frontage area turn into, I don't know how even they're gonna design that to become multifamily. They're gonna, the traffic, and they have kids parking from school right in front of my house all the time, right all down the street. So I mean, it's kind of like, I'm a contractor. I mean, build, you know, multi-purpose all day long, but that area, that just right there in that area, that's that neighborhood's already, you know, established. It's been there for a while. There's a lot of elderly people there. People have been living there for a long time, and then they're just gonna they already turned down the houses as it is, and making a mess in my yard, because I live right behind it, and I mean, I don't agree with it. And then you don't know who's gonna be renting these houses and what kind of parking they're gonna have. So just want to voice my concern and, you know.
Look, I'm sorry to interrupt you, sir, but I have a quick question. Right, you said you live where
On lot
exactly?
I live on lot 2 on 4th Avenue.
On 4th, okay,
Yeah.
so you
So
live
you have
on.
the front, you have the lot 19, which is in the
Right.
corner of 5th and Junior.
Okay.
Right, and then I live on 4th Avenue, which is the street.
And on our map, just since you live right there, just have a question.
Actually, they have them up right here.
Yeah, it shows that the properties right next to the property that's looking to be rezoned is multifamily, is that correct? Mr. Seville? That those areas, are they already multifamily, or they're
That's
just zoned
correct,
that
Mayor.
way?
There's about 4 lots west of it.
Right.
That are already multifamily.
Which ones are they? I live right here on lot 2.
Let me pull it up here in the computer.
Sure.
Yeah, I just want to understand the nature.
This is my neighbor.
I live in lot 3.
Lot 3, okay. Yeah, and I just wanted to understand, because I see, obviously, it's all, you know, residential area, but
Yes.
I did see that right next to this lot, that they're already multifamily, just wondering.
I would like to see.
Yes, sir, yeah.
Yeah, and I was looking at this today, Mayor. I think the other properties that you're referring to are owned by the same entity.
Okay.
The one on 4th
Yeah.
Avenue, that's already multifamily.
They have it right here on 19.
We could help clear it up. So, yes, the corner one is the one being rezoned at the moment. The other lots here have already been rezoned previously.
When were they rezoned?
I believe the records go back to, I think it was 2021, if I'm, or prior to that, if I'm not mistaken. But it is, you're correct, Mr. Diaz, it is the same owner, so.
But they're already operating as multifamily, they're not?
No,
Oh,
currently.
that's why it has.
There were houses.
The houses
Yeah.
were still there, they are being demolished. The intention is that if this rezoning does go through, then we'll be replatting the property so that it can be multifamily.
Okay, all right. No, it helps me understand the concept, yeah, thank you.
Just so you know, I have a permit active right now to remodel my house. And I asked planning and zoning, I said, is any of this multifamily? Can you do any apartments? And they're like, no way.
Right.
You can look it up.
Yeah.
It's 814 North Florida.
In your lot, you were
Yeah,
inquiring?
I asked him,
Got it.
he even blew up the whole plat. And
Yeah.
I asked him, is there any, because I heard talk from, you know, people around there. And I asked him, are any of these lots are gonna be multifamily? He said, no. And this was the planning and zoning. I'm gonna pick the guy out. I'll go over there and tell you that's the guy. He printed it out because I have the paper that he printed out for me.
Yeah.
So why would he tell me something like that? And he's telling me 2021 it's been rezoned for multifamily. How did he not know? How did a city employee not know that? It's been there for 20-something years that he told me. You know, it's kind of confusing.
Yes, sir.
What do you think?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So,
Well, that's why I was asking, because I saw on the map, there is multifamily, that's why I wanted to clarify it.
well, I'm here because they play your planning and zoning department. I'm a contractor. I know planning and zoning. I went and asked them. was your, when you're, I mean, even the engineer was there, the one that helps design or whatever he does. I even asked him, he said, no, there's no multifamily there. It's all single family. And I showed him my lot, and I even asked him about the alley. He goes, there's no alley there. That's not an alley. That's your property. That's part of your property. I thought it was an alley for all this time. So, I mean,
No, but thank you. I appreciate your comments, sir. Did you want to add additional comments, sir? I know you live beside the.
Yes, I'm just concerned with the fact that if it is built, we do have problems with sewage. I've already had several instances where it would get backed up into my house, and then I'd have to deal with the aftermath. We do smell it outside as well. And as a college student, going from my house, crossing the street on Junior, it is very dangerous. Like the road there, it's always getting backed up. There's a bunch of traffic there. So either I would go late to class, or I might have an accident there. But I do have to be patient waiting. So this area so far is pretty dangerous unless there's future changes or plans that are going to be made to help control that issue and also help with the plumbing, because if we do add some more buildings on there, it might back up the plumbing even further. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for your comments.
Evening.
Good evening.
My name is Amalia Perez, and I live in Lot 93 on Junior Street. I'm right across the street from where they're demolishing all those houses. My concern is that the traffic there is congested as it is with Pan American students. There's been quite a few accidents on 5th Street. You know, I think it's gonna be an error in putting any duplexes there or apartments or whatever. As when we were coming over here, I noticed that the traffic was from Sugar Road all the way to 4th Street, and it was accumulating. So traffic's gonna be congested. And even if they make a driveway towards the back, between 4th and 5th, it's still gonna affect Junior Street. And I have a concern that there's gonna be a lot of accidents there. And in the years that I've been there, whoever owned that property was renting before. And I got to see quite a bit of the tenants, and some of them were gone between night and day because I noticed that they were selling some kind of product. Another concern that I had was that I kept smelling gas. I called the Texas Gas Company, and I kept telling them that the smell was coming from the north side to my area. So they sent a technician, and then they found a leak. I don't know if it was done by the bulldozing of the property or whatever. But I'm disabled. It's bad enough that I have to leave for my appointments an hour in advance because of the congestion of traffic. And sometimes students have the compassion to allow me to get out of my driveway. But now I'm gonna be going to therapy 3 times a week, and it's just gonna get worse for me. So once I'm gone, y'all can do whatever you want. But for now, I'm against this. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for your comments.
Just to touch up on a couple points on that item as well. Like mentioned before, the other properties have already been rezoned prior. They're just trying to finish off that corner piece with the intention of re-subdividing the property for the intention of the multifamily.
And how many lots will the REIT subdivision be? And I know y'all don't have it done, but
No,
just propose. What, is
just
it one
based
lot,
off of-
2 lots, or what?
Just based off of what it can fit as far as for whether the intention is duplex or fourplex, it can be more than 4 lots. It's not a very large area per se. It was previously 5 lots the way that it's kind of laid out right now. It's just cutting it up evenly so that they have their access off of Junior. Looking in, further into that, they have to have the services, their access off of Junior. Sorry. And the biggest intent is just really to finish off acquiring that last rezoning so that it can all be brought up to today's standards for multifamily. The nature of the area all surrounding this, it's really going towards the multifamily. When I did some research earlier, that old townsite area of Edinburgh, there's over 73 properties that have been rezoned or are already multifamily within the vicinity. And that's not even accounting for some of the neighborhoods that are strictly multifamily further north. This is just around here, City Hall towards the university. It's what students need. That's, you know, where the trend is seeming to go. So that's all. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Is there anyone else that wishes to make any comments on any items from A, B, C, D, E, or F? If not, I will close the public hearing. We're going to take each item one by one. Item A.
Yes, Mr. Mayor. Consider the ordinances providing for the comprehensive plan amendment from general commercial uses to multifamily residential uses and the rezoning request from commercial general to residential multifamily district, a 5.821 acre tract of land being a portion of Lot 7, Section 241, Texas Mexican Railway Company's subdivision, Hidalgo County, Texas, according to the map recorded in Volume 1, page 16, map records in the office of the county clerk of Hidalgo County, Texas, located at 1504 North Business Highway 281, Unit B, as requested by Eden I. Trevino on behalf of Circle T Holdings, RGV LP.
All right, council.
Make a motion to approve.
We have a motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
We have a second. Any discussion? I did have a question for engineering or maybe utilities on the question by the resident regarding the plumbing and those things. Based on, I know this is just a rezoning, but I just want to make sure this development obviously is going to meet all our requirements, right, of the city, but what does it mean on the outer area? I just want to make sure it's known, you know, in terms of the area. Because I know we're working on another project in that area, but just wanted to touch on that.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Gerardo Carmona, Director of Utilities. So the area we're having the issue, this subdivision is not going to connect into there.
Okay.
We were working on some other options to kind of alleviate that where we're having that issue. So staff, you know, barely completed that this morning. So we're looking at to see how the system is gonna behave. I did talk to the resident right now, so we're gonna look into the issue and see what's causing.
I just want to be clear that this development is not going to connect to the same line, I guess, that would affect.
This line, Mayor, it connects to where there's a manhole there where Trevino's is at, and then it goes south towards Chapin, and then all the way to Junior, and then eventually east towards the wastewater treatment plant. So it's a separate system, but she did tell me about her concerns, so we're going to look at it and see, you know, maybe there's some kind of blockage or something like that in the area.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Thank
and
you.
then we'll look at this subdivision as well.
No.
And Jerry, I've been noticing around the different parts of the city of Edinburgh that there is a smell of sewer and all that. What is causing that?
On which side of
In general, just I've noticed different sections, especially near like the park and university. I've noticed a little bit of that. Like, what's going on in that? Why are we starting to smell a little bit more sewage?
It depends on the area. Sometimes it could be a lift station. Sometimes what happens is that we do get a lot of grease, you know, from not just restaurants, residential homes. So if we, you know, sometimes we get, like in these lift stations, we get a chunk of grease, right? Then that's going to start to smell. So what we do recommend is that for the residents not to dispose of their grease down the drain, because it's going to cause plumbing issues on their end, but it's going to also cause issues on the city side as well. So it could be multiple things, or you know, from something simple like that to many other issues.
I think the main thing, if we can get the address, you know, so we could send it to utilities. I think that way they can really look into it in the area, perhaps a lift station or some other concerns. So that's.
Yes, if like the mayor said, if there's a specific issue or we can get an address, then we can start pinpointing a little bit better as to what the issue is.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, the mayor kind of touched it, Jerry, but I think that the common denominator right now is with all our growth and with a lot of multifamily, I think the climate's changing, right? Maybe we'll step away a little more from multifamily. But I think I wanna see every time that, like this project that's going up, if we know what the sewage is around the area, so we can kind of take that into consideration. Like, I know that some of the older areas have a smaller 8-inch, and then the new requirements are larger. So then you end up with a backup if it connects. I'm happy to hear that this development that looks very nice on the renderings, thank you to the investor. But I'm happy to hear that it is not connected to the residents that are having issues that have been there for years. I just think that that's a common theme. I don't know about the rest of council, but I think that should be included in our packet so that we can kind of decide, because I'm gonna have the same question for all the other multifamilies, including the one here on Junior. So just so we're all on the same sheet of music, this development will not affect the sewage around the neighboring homes that are there?
So the area that I'm specifically talking about is I know we've had some issues on that sewer line where the trucking business is at, and that goes all the way to the east side, crosses the expressway all the way to the wastewater treatment plant. So that's the specific system that I'm talking about. This one's a separate system from that one that eventually goes down towards Junior.
Good evening, Council Mayor. Just a reminder that these are land use only. We won't be able to make those calculations until they actually come in for the building permit and the subdivision review. Before we can do that, but the best that we can do is just show, where our lines are and so forth, because we wouldn't really know until to see what they'll be able to build in those areas before we rezone it. So that's something that we can't, we're not able to identify until we see what is actually going to be proposed.
And so that leads to my second part of my question. I noticed that we do a lot of these rezonings without even knowing the capacities. And so we pass one and then we get into a big conundrum with the second part. Is there a reason why we do it that way? Should it be part of the initial evaluation and voting?
It's part of our land use plan as what we have now. We're prepared for that, and that's what we go by unless that developer or the property owner wants to change our future land use plan. That's why it's important that we establish that land use plan, and that's what we're following at that time. I don't know, Jay, if you want to touch on it.
Sorry, should excuse me, Mayor, Council. Jay Saenz, Assistant City Manager for the record. So typically, the land use plan, or at least the zoning, will tell you what the property is purposed for, but that's only the land use portion. When somebody actually develops the property, they would be required to do any upgrade to the utility system that's there as part of the construction. So that would include upsizing a line, that would include any impact that it's going to have to the area would have to be improved as part of that. Any utility line, any drainage system.
Let me interrupt you there. So you're saying by the land use or proposed land use, that's telling you the amount or the size of the sewer or lines that are there?
No, what the zoning will tell you is, for example, on a multifamily, let's take a multifamily tract. By default, the zoning and the Unified Development Code will tell you you can put X amount of units on a particular piece of acreage, right? Obviously, that shrinks when the site develops. You put asphalt, you put parking stalls, you put vegetation, it shrinks the site. So just because the zoning says that 24 units are there, that doesn't mean they can put 24 units there. What I'm saying is when they develop it, they are required to follow all city requirements, but to improve the site, including utilities, drainage, water, sewer, whatever it is.
Yeah, but when we decide future land use, we're not taking into consideration the infrastructure that's there.
Oh, they are. When they did the comprehensive plan, they provided us with a future land use map, and they had to do an analysis on that, including our infrastructure, to calculate that. That's why you have the future land use map, which is a guide that the council can use for development. But you also are at liberty to change that, because from time to time, the council can decide that this area is commercial, this area is industrial, this area is residential.
But what I'm saying, we make decisions here based on future land use sometimes when there's no one to alert of the fact that there's issues around their neighborhood, but it's zoned for future multifamily. But yet around the area, the infrastructure does not support that. And we're hoping that the new development will upgrade that, but yet it's still connecting to smaller lines. Are we taking that in consideration with our recommendations, planning, anything like that?
So in brief, I know the mayor and the council had asked previously for staff to get together as part of these zoning cases, to discuss those as part of what the impact will do to the area. So I will say yes, that's being taken into consideration by staff.
But just recently?
I will also, well, that's what's recently been asked for, right? And so we're putting an emphasis on it, right? For example, the incident that was just brought up right now, the staff's going to look into that to see what the situation is, because it could be something that's just localized, something that's just happened right now. More longer-term impacts, well, obviously, we need to upgrade some of our systems in different areas. We take that into consideration. But the developers are responsible for some of that as well, so that's part of development.
All right. Anybody else? Anything else on this item? If not, I'll call for a vote. There's a motion, a second to approve. All in favor, please raise your right hand. All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Moving on to item B.
Mayor and Council, item B was pulled from the agenda. We got a request from the developer that he wasn't going to be able to make it to tonight's meeting. He requested if the council would consider this item in February, the first meeting in February.
Counselor, how do we need a request motion to table, or?
On this one, it would just be no action.
So there's not a need to, okay, let's move on to item C.
Consider the ordinance providing for the rezoning request from manufactured home district to commercial general district, all of Lot 1, M&O Trailer Park located at 6418 North I-69C Road, as requested by Charles Brown on behalf of BIC Development Corporation.
Motion to approve.
We have a motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
We have a second. Any discussion? If not, all in favor, please raise your right hand. All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Item D.
Consider the ordinances providing for the comprehensive plan amendment from outer urban uses to multifamily residential uses, and the rezoning request from residential primary district to residential multifamily district, Lot 19, University North Subdivision, Unit 1, located at 811 West Junior Street, as requested by Meldon and Hunt on behalf of Sark Enterprises LLC.
Motion to suspend the rules.
Second.
We have a motion, a second to suspend the rules. All in favor of motion, please raise your right hand. All opposed, same sign. Go ahead, sir.
So I'm going to have the same type of questions on this, Jaime. I know that it seems like the plan is to purchase this, or maybe they did purchase this last piece of property in the corner, but of course, hearing the concerns of the residents and the same questions I had on the other property, how do we consider the number of units there if there's already issues around there? There's the smells, the traffic. I do know that traffic is a big issue because when we first came in office, there was a median there that was added and they removed it because it was just so congested. And I know that the other properties were rezoned, but I don't remember ever voting on this. I think this is before the prior 3 or 4 years. But how do we address that, and how is the surrounding infrastructure going to support multifamily in this area?
Well, Jay kind of touched on it when he mentioned that we kind of review this when it goes through the subdivision process. In speaking to the representative from the engineering firm, they're proposing 4 lots. So we're looking at 4 units per lot, maybe a total of 16 for this development.
Well, I'll interject. I've asked before during this, when we're rezoning, and what I've noticed also is that we'll rezone something, it gets sold to another developer, and they go 2 or 3 stories, when we never even considered that. Right. We consider 1 story in maximum density, but then if they find a buyer that's looking to do 2 or 3 stories, they'll do that. Is there a way we can assure that that doesn't happen?
Unfortunately, we can't put conditions on a rezoning.
Yeah, and I have to interject, Councilmember, ask our legal counsel on this, and that's what, I brought this up before. What does the law allows us to do on zoning case? Because obviously, I share the same sentiment, I don't know if council does, just at least wanted to have more information, right?
Right.
As we make a decision, and I know legally, obviously, it's just a zone change.
Right. At this point, that's why staff mentioned that this was really just a land use consideration at this time. We're not to consider plans for development, for future development, because those haven't been presented for consideration yet.
So I guess could we, explore, research what it is that we could include, right? As part of, I don't want to say conditions, because you're right, we can't have conditions, but just as information.
The only thing that I can think of is that we amend the Unified Development Code to be a little bit stricter in that particular zone.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that may be something, but.
Yeah, what I'm realizing is when we direct developers to talk to the neighbors and work it out together, and we've done that, and then we table, and then when they work it out, we approve, then I hear later that it's sold. And now, what we thought they worked out with the residents is not even gonna be part of the plan. So how do we address that, other than changing UDC?
So if I may, again, what can be done on a zoning case, because the land use part of it, because the zoning, the UDC gives us a total amount of dwelling units on a particular piece of property based on the acreage, right? So like I gave you an example, and let's say that for the acreage, it gave you a maximum amount of 40 lots, right?
But you're saying one
We-
story.
We could, well, the stories, that also, as far as stories, is also indicated in the zoning. So it tells you in a typical story is about 15 feet, more or less, 12 to 15. We could give you the maximum default by the zoning of what that would do as far as impact to the sewer, impact to the water, impact to the drainage. Now, you may think a little bit, that may not be fair to the developer because we're hitting you with the maximum, even though we know the site's gonna shrink based on other requirements that we have. But we could give you a default saying, if the max units per this acreage is 50, then that's what we'll give you calculations on. Now, again, the developer's gonna say, oh, my plan wasn't to do 50, it was only gonna be because it's gonna shrink 38. Well, we can't take that into consideration because that could fluctuate, right? We'll give you based on 50. So that's what we could do, Mayor, because that's the UDC says. that.
I just would like our city attorney
Oh,
to
of course.
research that.
I'm just
and
saying,
make
'cause that's
sure
what the
that
UDC says.
Whatever it is that we include does not, I guess, interfere with.
The worst case scenario every time.
Is that a fair scenario? Because if you're saying that you can put 40, 50 rooftops on that acreage.
Yeah.
Shouldn't you be using your formula where you're gonna say how much has gotta be free land space? How much has gotta be, so there's a formula in there. So you're just saying 50 house to house, stack to stack. Yeah, that's not fair because we, in our UDC somewhere it says
Correct.
how much has to be.
Other requirements, yeah.
I'm not sure, the vegetation space or.
Yes, open space ratio,
Open
landscape
space.
ratio.
So when I take
Yeah.
my 40 acres, and I know that 20% of it's gotta be that, we're gonna subtract that 20, I'm gonna do my formula to get my houses.
Right. I'm not talking about the specific percentage of the lot, I'm talking about the configuration on that lot of how I'm gonna meet the
Yeah, but
20% and
you
where.
went and told the council right now, you went from 50 lots,
Yeah.
that's the max it could be on there.
Right,
And you did no consideration, what you presented to us
Yeah.
was no consideration for green space.
right. No,
And that's not fair, because there is a formula over there that's.
it's exactly, it's not me saying it's in the Unified Development Code, that's correct.
Everybody did estimate, that might be the UDC, but then we go back to our zoning ordinance, and we're gonna say how much green space has to be, whether it's gonna be residential, whether it's gonna, single-family residential, duplex, we get into business, one that all says how much green space we're gonna have, or open space, or
That's correct.
vegetation, I'm not sure what the proper
No,
wording is for
that's
that.
correct, you're right.
So you can use a formula there and give somebody a good estimated average, rather than saying 50 and you're gonna come up with 38 because of the.
Yeah, and I gave that example because obviously those numbers are in
But
the
it's not
Unified
fair to
Development Code.
us.
I'm not making that up,
It's
right?
not fair to us when you give us 50 and you went down to 38, because once you made the plan, it's because
No,
now we're taking 50.
So I was talking in hypotheticals, right, as far as, because I don't have that particular section in front of me. What I'm telling you is the zoning allows for a specific number of dwelling units on a lot. It also, and you're correct, talks about open space ratio, landscape ratio, floor area ratio for buildings. It tells you what those percentages should be. Now, it doesn't tell you how to configure that on the lot, right? Their professionals are gonna do that for us. We just need to make sure that it's consistent with our Unified
Yeah, but
Development.
we know that 20, say, we're using a number, hypothetical.
Yeah,
We
sure.
know that 20% of that's got to be green space. It could be end up 25, 30, because it is, but it can't be anything less than 20.
That's correct, that's the
There's a
minimum.
number there.
Or else they would ask for an exception.
Yeah, then that's up to the designer when he designs his lot.
But that's where the designers get creative and they'll go 2 or 3 stories to get those
Well,
amount of
that's,
units.
Where they still meet the
we're just talking
LSR,
about
right.
rooftops, first of all. Now we're doing rooftops with second, third floors.
All right.
I just got a question from Mr. Carmona. On this, Junior, this is the first time I've heard about sewer problems on Junior. At least this area, this Fourth and right around the university. Are we having sewer issues?
Not that
I
I'm
think
aware,
a couple
sir.
of them brought up that there's sewer issues of backing up and the smells and everything the same.
In this area specifically that we
Yeah,
have,
that's what they brought up in a little while ago. The elderly lady, I didn't get her name, but. last week.
she was on Chapin.
No,
Yeah.
No, Junior.
Yeah, they were
Okay.
on Junior, yeah.
All across the street. I'm not aware of any issues, sir, but we can definitely start looking into
Yeah, we
that
can
and
check
see,
into that.
you know, what the issue is.
Yeah, I just want to make sure we, please.
Yes, sir.
I'm not saying there's not, I just haven't heard anything. We usually hear about sewer. Phone rings about sewers, and I haven't heard any, my phone hasn't rang about Junior.
Oh, we'll definitely take a look at it.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Anybody else, any other questions? We don't have a motion, so, but I guess before there's any motions, one last question. Hi, Miss, so there's gonna be 4 lots, potentially, or 5?
Potentially 4 to 5 lots.
And so are they required to come before us, a plat, or is that a minor plat that administratively
If
gets?
it's 4 lots, it would be a minor plat. If it's 5
So
lots.
it won't come before us?
It won't go, no.
I just want to let council know, this is not going to come before us, so this will be submitted and I guess vetted through staff to make sure it complies, so. Anyway, all right. Is there any motions?
Make a motion to deny.
We have a motion to deny. Is there a second? If not, I'll second that to deny. Any other discussion? If not, all those in favor to deny, please raise your right hand. All right, vote doesn't move forward. Is there any other motions?
Move to approve. Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve. All in favor, please raise your right hand. All opposed, same sign. All right, so we're at a standstill, so there's not going to be any action.
That's it.
We'll just move
Next.
on?
Next.
Okay, all right, we're going to move on to item E. Go ahead, ma'am.
Consider the ordinances providing for the comprehensive plan amendment from adult urban uses to multifamily residential uses and the rezoning request from agriculture and open space district to residential multifamily district, a 20-acre tract of land being the east 20 acres of Lot 1, Block 55, Alamo Land and Sugar Company subdivision, Hidalgo County, Texas, and according to warranty deed recorded in volume 1758, page 174, official records, Hidalgo County, Texas, located at 3200 East Canton Road, as requested by Quintanilla, Heli and Associates on behalf of Red Rock Realty.
Motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve. Any discussion? If not, all in favor, please raise your right hand. All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Item F.
Consider the ordinance providing for the special use permit for on-premise consumption of alcoholic beverages, Edinburgh Townsite Subdivision, Lot 7 and 8, Block 229, located at 310 West McIntyre Street, as requested by J. Hughes on behalf of J.M. Mejia Properties, LLC.
Motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion to approve and a second. Any discussion?
I do have discussion. Are the owners of the property here? I know we had the neighbors.
No, the applicant is here.
Well, that's the applicant?
Yeah,
of-
he's the applicant,
Well,
the gentleman. that
he's
came
the gentleman that's gonna run the bar concession. Is that correct?
Yeah, but he's the owner of the business. Is that correct? Yeah.
You own
he's-
the property
yeah.
there too, sir?
No, he owns the business, and he's gonna run the operation. Is that correct? If I heard you correctly?
Yes, sir. I do not own the property. I just own the business that will be in that little building.
Before you leave the podium, sir, anybody else here from that property?
I don't-
Because my question was to address the neighboring adjacent owner who says that she feels that the properties, or the food trucks and the noise is closer to her side of the property. I wanted the owner to speak to that.
I do know that it's 2 brothers, and one of the brothers was supposed to be here with me. I'm not sure. I haven't heard why he's not here.
Okay. Any other questions?
Yes,
Go ahead, sir.
I have a question for Myra. We had one of these a while back where we said that the owner of the property had to request, wasn't it a meeting or 2 ago? And wasn't it something that the owner of the property had to make this request and not the person renting the permit? And I debated that if somebody's renting the property, they're the one that's subject to the,
You're correct.
but I lost that argument, but here we are now, we're doing it just the way I said it should have been done.
You're correct. Yes. It was, I believe there was it was through the EDC.
All I'm gonna ask is that, can you look into that and get back with me and see?
Yes.
For us in general, because now we've got it in 2 different ways and presented by to the same council.
Yes, okay.
That really had nothing to do with it.
Yeah, sir, I have a question. So what else are you gonna be selling in your business? Or what, is there, food, or do you,
No, sir. We are not going to do food. We're going to allow the food trucks to do food only, and we're just going to be doing probably not coffee, but NA beverages, so sodas, teas, lemonades,
Got it.
water, and then beer and wine only, no liquor.
right, okay.
The question I have is for staff. So this is the food truck park that's in between two apartment complexes across from the A Center.
Correct.
So is that lot in itself is labeled, what's the zoning there and next to two apartments?
It has a commercial zoning, that particular lot.
That particular lot has commercial zoning.
Either commercial or university, which it's an allowed use. We have addressed the concern about the noise. That was addressed to our code enforcement department who handled it. I don't think that's a lingering issue anymore. But one of the things that we can do, I mean, this is a special use permit. It's going to be seen again next year, and we could address any concerns at that time.
The other question I have is the special use permit is for 1 year, is that correct? If granted, I mean, that's for 1 year. And what happens after that 1 year?
It comes back to the council for reconsideration.
And what review process is,
Well, one of the things we can do is we can request any records or any incidents
I
from
mean, I think
PD.
we already do that, right, chief? I mean, that's a review for the
Usually do.
special use permit, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's what we can do, and we can report all those incidents to the council the next time that this item comes before you.
Are all alcohol licenses special use?
Yes.
Yes? I don't think, I mean, we have the Trevino's here, I don't think I've seen their restaurant come back here, I don't think I've seen anything since I've been here come back for a year review.
Is there a different kind of TABC license? Yeah, it's a
Well,
good
there's a
question.
TABC license, but even then, the TABC's, you could pull your city
Right.
permit and the TABC will pull theirs.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, once they come, you could renew them every 4 years, or you can give them for life of use.
Oh,
Okay.
okay,
Now, that was new because the last time we had this thing too, remember, it was everything comes back in a year.
yeah. What does our ordinance state about special use permits?
That they must be granted by the
No,
city
but
council.
is it every year or what is the?
They do come in, apply, and pay for it. Now, whether it comes to the city council, that depends on any issues that may arise and the previous approval that was given to
I just
them.
want to make sure we're being consistent. I agree with Councilmember.
No,
I
but
mean,
they do come in and pay for it annually.
Right,
I don't think that's the question. The question is, we were told it comes back to council,
right.
and it's not coming back to council.
It's not coming back to
Every 4
council.
years, I mean, I've been here, this is 5 years, I've never seen one come back to council.
Right. And they used to, I remember.
I remember they used to, because we used to do the research for Munoz, we used to have to get all the research ready for Munoz.
Yeah, can we just check into that? I mean, he's right. I mean, they haven't been coming back. And I don't know if the ordinance, now they're getting approved where they're just,
For a longer period of time.
yeah.
Because
I mean,
it would be-
I would check into that, and I was only asking that in case this gets approved. There's some concerns, and I guess in the past, when it comes, before council, they get to express those concerns, like, well, this happened during the year, and, those kind of things. So, that's why I was asking, in case this gets approved.
We'll look
so
into it. If the
residents
council
know.
wants to see them every year, we
Yeah.
can bring them back.
All right.
The other question I had, Mr. Acevedo, is that I know that they mentioned, this just says consumption of alcoholic beverages. The bar owner states that he wants to make it only beer and wine. Does this limit
Yes,
just to beer and wine, or?
right. The other one requires a mixed drink.
Mixed drink, okay.
Yeah, okay. Did you have a comment, ma'am? Go ahead, I'll allow.
Just on the premise of the resurfacing, what's really in their hands now is peace, right? We all want to be at peace in our own homes. In terms of the noise being addressed, in the beginning, when it was the food trucks blaring music, that was addressed. But any families that go, children running, playing, can be heard. Our window is like 10 feet from like the nearest food truck, right? So we would enjoy, and I'm not the only tenant. My neighbor left because of the noise, and then another neighbor, I think, did complain on the 311 app. I was one of those complaints. So I just think whether it's beer, wine, or any sort of alcohol, that brings the foot traffic, it brings, people being there, and especially the question of brunch and things like that. Would you like to be woken up at 8 a.m. on a Saturday because they're having a brunch 10 feet from your window? Me personally, no, right? And I am a teacher, so even cutting it off at 10 p.m., that to me is late, So things like that I would love for you guys to just consider, right? The peace that would be disrupted if this goes through.
Thank you.
Thank you. I do want to ask city manager and staff, I was looking at the map, and it is zoned downtown.
In the downtown district, correct?
Downtown district. I know we have a committee we formed. I don't know if they've met. This is not going to be the first time, council, we're going to be getting this. The area is growing. We really need to ask staff to please revisit this and see how it is that we can make sure people want to live downtown. I'd love for people to live downtown, you know, but they shouldn't have to leave or just because we're going to get entertainment. I think we can have both. We're not the only city around the country that, I mean, we're a college, university. Let's figure out a way how we can, you know, have what other communities have and make sure that there is peace, but there is business, there is, you know, I think there's a way to do it. So I just ask staff to please look into that.
We'll do that.
All right. So we have a motion and a second to approve. All in favor of the motion, please raise your right hand. All opposed, same sign. Excuse me, all opposed? Motion is approved. Moving on to item ordinance 8A.
Consider ordinance providing for a temporary special use permit for a special event for the third annual Bayou Brew Fest presented by the Edinburgh Rotary Club to be held March 29, 2025 at the City of Edinburgh Ace Building and Amphitheater area located at 201 West McIntyre Street, as requested by Danny Torres on behalf of the Edinburgh Rotary Club.
Motion approved.
Second.
Well, motion and a second to approve.
Discussion.
Any discussion?
I have a quick question. So
Yes.
why are we moving it away from Ebony Golf Course? I really enjoyed it at Ebony
I don't think Jaime can answer that.
yeah.
Good evening, Mayor, council members. Manuel Cantu, I'm the current president of our club. It was offered to us as an option
He
to
wants to
have
know
it
the
there.
name of who offered.
Yeah. Anonymously offered. But the deal is that by having it over here, it's more cost effective for us. We don't have to pay for a stage. Part of the restrooms are
Be
available.
able to raise more money.
And we'll be able to raise more money and, you know, put it back into the community.
Right.
So that's the whole idea. I mean, I get where you're coming from, but it's a financial deal that will help us.
Will you consider going back to Ebony next year? This would be the 100th
Potentially,
year anniversary, so I
potentially,
get it.
yeah,
It would be a nice thing, but man, I really loved Ebony.
yeah.
It was awesome. The last 2 years, the weather's been perfect.
Yeah, the weather has been
the
on our side big
trees, the
time.
greenery, like it just hurts seeing it not at Ebony.
Yeah,
It really
we
does.
certainly will, and you know, I know you all are working on potential plans in that area, and you know, maybe it'll lend itself a little bit better in the future. We can always come back.
Just consider it again.
Sure, absolutely. Thanks for your input. Appreciate that.
Thank you for all your hard work, gentlemen.
Thank you.
It's a great event.
Thank you. All in favor of motion, please raise your right hand. All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. We're going to move on to item 9, variance, item A.
Consider variance request to the City's Unified Development Code, Article 3, Division 30.200, Section 3.202, non-residential and mixed-use building placement standards for EB Estate subdivision, being a .692 acre tract of land out of Lot 8, Block 280, Texas Mexican Railway Company Survey subdivision, according to the plat thereof, recorded in Volume 24, pages 168 through 171, Hidalgo County Map Records, located at 5219 West SH 107, as requested by Sotex Engineering LLC. Mayor, Ms. McCarty has questions on this item and the next 2 items.
All right, well, let me call for a motion first. Is there a motion? There are no motions, so we can move on. I welcome to hear your comment, but, okay, all right. There's no motion. We're gonna move on to item 10, contractuals, item A.
Consider authorizing the city manager to enter into job task order number 1 for professional services for SH 107 pedestrian improvements and beautification with Supreme Engineering for an amount not to exceed $249,000 and execute any documents related thereto pursuant to city's ordinances and procurement policies.
So moved.
Second. We have motion and a second. Go ahead. I know you had a comment on this.
Well, my question, I just hate, which I talked to Tom earlier, I just like someone to explain what it is so the people will know. When I hear beautification, the hair on the back of my neck stands up because I told Thomas out here, going out this way, we had to have the median and all the plants and all the little trees, and they're all dead. So that was what I was asking, and someone had called me, are we going to be wasting our money on the same thing they did on this 107?
Well, I'll let staff answer, but I'm actually glad you're bringing that up, Fern. I actually agree with what you're saying, because I remember when that happened. That was
yes.
a TechStop project, but this is part of the drainage improvements on 107, and I think we're doing this because the state is just putting in the drainage and then repaving the road, and that's it. Everything stays the same.
Well, when we saw, and the gentleman saw beautification, he goes like, I won't say what he said, but we got it, like I say, if it's a TechStop deal, great.
Right.
Then they pay for the plants, they pay to water it, and when it dies, they pay for it. But it always comes back on the taxpayer.
And I think, and I'll let our engineer explain it further, but there's not going to be a median, just to be clear, on the East 107. This is just making improvements along the streetscape, the sidewalk, and those kind of things. Is that correct?
Good evening, Mayors and Council. Mardoqueo Hinojosa, City Engineer. You just got it exactly right. We're not looking at putting.
Yeah, but I'm not the engineer. You're the
Yes. So I'll pretty much repeat what you just said, Mayor. I mean, we're looking at sidewalks. We're not looking at any medians. We're looking at a little bit of landscaping, lighting, to make sure that everything fits and looks the same.
And is it going to be around the courthouse square also, and all the way east to Veras, or just to be clear?
Pretty much we're looking from the courthouse going east to Expressway.
But it's around the square?
Around the square, yes.
Okay. All right. There's no other discussion. All in favor of the motion, please raise your right hand. All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Item 11, Resolution A.
Consider resolution of support adopting the City of Edinburgh's 2025 legislative priorities for the 89th State Legislative Session.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second, and I think you had a comment, Ms. Fern.
I went through and underlined all the ones that y'all have here, and I only saw one that says support legislation that would provide meaningful property tax relief. I'm not sure exactly how the state would do something, but there was a lot of what the city wants and things, but I really didn't see too much that y'all cared about the taxpayers of the city of Edinburgh. And that was my question. I saw one, and then I wasn't sure how it would be done with the property tax relief from the state. So I would like y'all to, when you go up there, and is to find out how, not maybe just in Edinburgh, but in the state of Texas, how they can help the property owners.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, and meaningful tax relief, just to expand, Ms. Fern, is obviously the state oversees the whole tax system related to it. So there's a bill that somebody put together. It's a combination of different things. So whatever that is, it's relief. Sometimes they give, like in this case, they raise their homestead. If you remember, so however that bill shapes up, it'll be relief. And at least the council, we're supporting that effort, whatever that is, but it is going to be relief. So we just don't know the exact details because they have to kind of come up with what it is that, what area they will provide that relief. But I think to us, we just want to be able to support that. So, all right, all those in favor, please raise your right hand. All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. We're going to move on to item 12, consent agenda. We have item A through J. Is there any item that we need to take out of consent, council? If not, I'll take a motion as one.
Motion
Move to approve A through J.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve items A through J. All in favor of the motion, please raise your right hand. All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Item 13, other business. Is there any items, council, you'd like to request?
Yes. First, I'm going to start with, everybody knows what happened in Louisiana and also in Vegas at Trump Tower with the firebombing on the electric vehicle. I'd like to know, or maybe for the next council meeting, I noticed that, and I learned a lot from watching that about the fire blankets to put out the electrical vehicle fire. I understand there might be some cost issues with that, but I don't remember those cost issues ever coming to this council about us deciding whether it's too much for our firemen for their safety. From what I understood, from the articles and what I read, understood from the fire department in Las Vegas was those fire blankets and all these new electrical vehicles are something we should have. I did a little research, and I believe FAR is the only city right now that has it. I believe that we don't have it. I would like for us to look into seeing why we don't have it, or should we have it, or something we can bring back to this council. And I'd prefer not to hear staff say that it's because it's too expensive. I think that's a decision this council should be the ones making, especially when it comes to the life of our men and women of our fire department or our police department responding to those. So I'd like to see something on that. Also, I'd like to bring back the reorganization of the EDC.
Is in connection with the board?
Yeah, reorganize the EDC board, redo the ordinance there. I'd also like to, since this seems to be, we've made this request in the past, and this hasn't been brought up every meeting, was the rescinding the letter in support of the Highway 490, or was it Highway 38? I mean, that was supposed to be, we've talked about 68? 68?
SH 68.
68, yeah, I think we talked about rescinding our letter, and then we talked about we're gonna have meetings and all this stuff, and it's been a couple months now, I haven't heard a word. I asked the council, I asked staff to make sure we bring this up on every meeting hence, and it hasn't been done. There's a couple more here, but I think I'll wait till next meeting. Thank you.
All right, anybody else? If not, we're going to move on to executive session. Item 14, we have items A through D. Council, can I get a motion to convene to executive?
So move. Second.
A motion and a second. All in favor, raise your right hand. All opposed, same sign. We are now going into executive session. It is approximately 7:26 p.m.
Item A, consultation with city attorney. Item B, consultation with city attorney and possible action regarding agreements for city events. Item C, discussion and possible action regarding the purchase, exchange, lease, or value of real property. Item D, discussion regarding personnel matters. Item E, discussion and possible action regarding the Economic Development Agreement Project Cape.
All right, can I get a motion to reconvene from executive session?
So moved. Second.
We have a motion to second. All in favor, raise your right hand. All opposed, same sign. It is 9:13. We're back now from closed session. Just want the record to reflect there was no action taken in executive session. I believe there's some action required.
Yes, Mayor. Recommend action on item 14B. Recommend a motion for, to authorize the city manager to proceed as directed as discussed in executive session.
Is there a motion to that effect?
So moved. Second.
We have a motion to second. All in favor, raise your right hand. All opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
And on item 14E, recommend a motion to approve an amended agreement as discussed in executive session.
So moved. Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, please raise your right hand. Motion carries. On item 14C, is that gonna come back?
Yes,
That
Mayor.
item?
There's
Okay.
no action on that
needed.
item.
Okay. All right, that being the case, there a motion to adjourn?
So moved. Second.
Motion second. All in favor, raise your right hand. We're adjourned.